So the Rose coach in Unrivaled finally decided to play Lexie Hull. Lexie Hull actually saw the floor. And what happened when Lexie Hull played more than like 4 minutes? Oh, the Rose win, first of all. They win.
Picture this. You're Lexie Hull. You've played a total of 8 minutes in 2 games. Your team is struggling and has 0 wins. You're watching from the sidelines as Angel Reese hogs the spotlight, forcing her way to get double-doubles. Then, suddenly, you get your shot. And you absolutely demolish it with a 19-point performance, taking over and leading your team to their first win.
And Lexie Hull goes 8 for 11 from the field and has 19 points, 3 assists, and 3 boards. 19, 3, and 3. She was the top scorer.
This isn't just a comeback story. It's a tale of perseverance, strategy, and the sweet taste of vindication. Lexie Hull just showed everyone what happens when you prioritize talent over stat padding, and why her success might be the key to unlocking the Rose Basketball Club's potential. What exactly did she do to put Angel Reese in her place? Are you ready? Let's go.
Hull's really stepping up because she barely played those first 2 games. And I do think with her barely playing those first 2 games, I don't think she did anything wrong. Like I even said at the time where I'm like, it's literally just the style of play their coach is trying to play that didn't suit Lexie Hull.
Remember when Lexie Hull was practically invisible on the court for the Rose Basketball Club? Yeah, that actually happened. Let's rewind to those first 2 unrivaled games where Hull rode the bench. She played a grand total of 8 minutes. That's right, 8 whole minutes across 2 entire games. You know what's even crazier? While Hull was warming the bench, her team was racking up losses like there's no tomorrow. The Rose Basketball Club started the season 0 wins and 2 losses, and Hull could do nothing but watch. Talk about frustrating.
Imagine going from Christy Sides coaching, where she doesn't really want to play you, and no matter what you do on the court, it doesn't matter because your coach doesn't want to play you, and then eventually your coach figures it out and starts you and plays you 30 minutes a game and your team gets better.
Here's the thing. Hull isn't some random player trying to find her footing. She's a proven 3-point shooter with serious defensive chops. In the previous WNBA season, Hull's 3-point shooting percentage put her among the top players in the league. She's got the skills to pay the bills, but for some reason, she was left riding the pine.
Lexie Hull hardly played, and it was all within like the flow of whatever offense you run in Unrivaled. And also, she's obviously a really freaking good defender.
So what gives? Why was a player of Hull's caliber getting practically 0 playing time? Something wasn't adding up, and fans were starting to notice. They were scratching their heads, wondering why Hull's defensive prowess wasn't being utilized when the team clearly needed a spark. This is where it gets interesting. While Hull was glued to the bench, her teammates were struggling to find their rhythm. Multiple players were scoring in double digits, but it wasn't translating to wins. The offense looked clunky, and the defense had more holes than a slice of Swiss cheese.
As we've seen from Alyssa Thomas, like the points that are like the point guards that are doing really well, or the point forward type things that are doing well in this, aren't really pick and roll players. It's the ones that are sharing the rock and hitting cutters, hitting like 3-point players. Like it's not about the pick and roll. It's not as important in 3-on-3. Especially when you can push the floor and you can run, and athleticism is the most important thing.
And here's the reality. Even with her limited playing time, Hull was making waves. Fans and commentators couldn't help but notice her lockdown defense during those few precious minutes she was on the floor. It was like watching a highlight reel in fast forward. Blink, and you'd miss her impact. The frustration was palpable. Teammates were grumbling. Fans were tweeting their discontent. And Hull? Well, as always, a team player and professional. Everyone seemed to agree. Hull deserved more time on the court.
I think Lexie Hull is going to have she's going to have a solid Unrivaled, and thankfully she's stepping up, and I didn't think she did anything wrong in her first 2 games when she was on the floor. The coach just didn't fit her. She didn't fit the coach's system. Thankfully, the Rose switched it up a bit. They won.
So, how did Lexie Hull go from bench warmer to game changer in just 1 night? That's the million-dollar question. Was it a change in strategy? Did the coach finally see the light? Or did Hull make some sort of deal with the basketball gods? We'll break it down in a bit. But first, why was she even benched to begin with?
She's back to mid-season form. She really is. She's absolutely delivering on that double-double. That's right. Points, rebounds, and of course, losses. Just in the same way that the Chicago Sky melted last year when her double-double streak started, she cost her team a game.
Remember when we were all wondering why Lexie Hull was warming the bench? Well, it turns out she might just be the secret weapon the Rose Basketball Club needed all along. Let's break down why Hull's game is practically tailor-made for the 3-on-3 format in Unrivaled. First things first, 3-on-3 basketball is a whole different beast compared to the traditional 5-on-5 game. With fewer players on the court, there's a ton more space to work with. This isn't just about having room to breathe, it's about creating opportunities. The pace is faster, the action is more intense, and every player needs to be a threat on both ends of the court.
People are saying, oh, she should have never went to Unrivaled. I still think, look, she's getting paid, what, 100 and something K? At least. Could be paid up to $250,000. Her, like, she's everywhere. Like, it's going to help her out. She drew the short straw with her team. The way the coach wants them to play is just not the way Lexie Hull is good at.
Now, let's talk about Lexie Hull. You know she's a sharpshooter, right? In 3-on-3, that's like bringing a flamethrower to a water balloon fight. With all that extra space on the court, players who can knock down threes and cut to the basket consistently become absolute nightmares for the defense. And Hull? She's not just good. She's been among the WNBA's best when it comes to draining shots from beyond the arc. But Hull's game isn't just about offense. In 3-on-3, your defensive skills are put under a microscope. There's nowhere to hide when you're the only one guarding your opponent. This is where Hull really shines. Her lockdown defense is the kind of thing that gives opposing players nightmares. In a format where one-on-one matchups can make or break a game, Hull's defensive prowess is like having a secret weapon.
Not only that, she's been good. Like, the problem isn't that Lexie Hull has been garbage. Lexie Hull has played well. That's the weirdest thing, is that she's actually played well. There is one issue with Lexie Hull, which is why I think she's not playing, but I think she has actually played well. And their team lost again.
You want to know what's even crazier? This isn't Hull's first rodeo with 3-on-3 basketball. She's been there, done that, and got the medals to prove it. Hull has represented Team USA in international 3-on-3 competitions, bringing home some serious hardware. That experience? It's priceless. She knows the ins and outs of this format, and it shows in her play. Still not convinced? Take a look around the league. Players like Kayla McBride and Kate Martin are tearing it up for the Laces Basketball Club. What do they have in common with Hull? They're all deadly from long range. These players are proving game after game that in 3-on-3, a good three-point shooter is worth their weight in gold.
And then we saw Kate Martin have one of the best performances of the weekend with a double-double at the guard position off the bench in limited minutes, where she did unbelievable.
So why is Lexie Hull's playing style perfect for 3-on-3 basketball? It's simple. She's got the complete package. Her sharpshooting keeps defenses honest and spreads the floor, creating opportunities for her teammates. Her lockdown defense means she can shut down the opposition's best player. And her experience in the format means she knows exactly how to maximize her skills in this unique style of play. So how did she apply all this in their latest game?
But for Lexie Hull, at least now they're stopping running the constant pick and rolls. Like, that was the worst part about it, is everything had to be a pick and roll. So the only players really scoring were Azare and Angel got some shots in, and that was really it. And at least this game was good today. This game really was good today.
The stage was set for a showdown against the Mist Basketball Club. The Rose, still searching for their first win, decided it was time to shake things up. And boy, did they ever. Gone were the days of slow, plodding offense and pick-and-roll heavy sets. In their place, a high-octane strategy focused on fast movement and sharp cuts. It was like watching a completely different team. And at the center of it all, Lexie Hull, finally unleashed.
So a brick from Chelsea Gray, an offensive rebounder and Vandersloot. Like, it's all from hustle plays. It's all from cutting, spotting up. A cut, Chelsea Gray hits her. Like, it's the off-ball movement that was really nice. Lexie Hull posting up Courtney Vandersloot. I stand by this. I thought at the start Courtney Vandersloot was going to be the worst player in Unrivaled. She's not, but she's very poor.
Let's talk about those 19 points in just 10 minutes. That's not a typo, folks. Hull wasn't just good, she was on another level entirely. But here's where it gets really interesting. 14 of those points came from driving to the hoop. This wasn't the Lexie Hull we thought we knew. This was Lexie Hull 2.0, attacking the basket with a ferocity that left defenders in her wake.
Sloot is very, very poor. Like Courtney Vandersloot, she shoots it off the dribble, bang. And then again, she goes and cuts on Vandersloot. Courtney Vandersloot, dear Lord. Like, then she's being guarded by Alia Edwards with the post fade. Like, Lexie Hull was doing a little bit of everything, but a lot of it was just her off-ball movement. A good screen by Brittany Sykes and a nice left-handed finish there.
Of course, she didn't completely abandon her bread and butter. Those other 5 points? Pure Hull magic from beyond the arc and the free throw line. It was like watching a perfect blend of her old strengths and newfound aggression.
They struggled to live with Lexie Hull, just as far as her cutting. It was just cuts, hustle plays, and she was just doing a lot of the little things. Like, she didn't do anything crazy other than, like, she made one or two decent drives. She made she made a really good cut. Like, she made a really, really good cut. She made really good cuts, and that's really it. Like, it just shows how much off the ball movement matters.
Now, let's put this performance into perspective. Hull's efficiency was off the charts. She had the highest point total on the team despite playing limited minutes. And while we're on the subject of limited minutes, let's talk about Angel Reese for a second. Remember her? The one who was supposed to be the star of this show?
Look, Angel Reese had a horrific game. Like, a terrible, terrible, terrible game.
Well, Reese's stat line tells a different story. 4 points in 8 minutes, with 3 turnovers and 4 fouls. That's right, she spent most of the game watching from the bench. Talk about a role reversal. But this isn't just about Hull outshining Reese. It's about how her performance lifted the entire team. With Hull leading the charge, the Rose found their rhythm. The new offensive strategy clicked, creating space and opportunities that simply weren't there before. And just like that, the Rose Basketball Club had their first win in Unrivaled.
They changed a little bit. She's doing a lot more off the ball work. She's doing a lot more cutting, and she's doing a lot of positive, really positive things for the team. And with her defense, I think it's hard. It'd be hard to not give her a look in. Or at least whether you don't want to give her more of a look in, or these are the type of minutes you want to give her. I think it's hard to give her as few minutes as you did initially.
So what does this mean moving forward? For starters, it raises some serious questions about Hull's previous lack of playing time. If she can put up these kinds of numbers in just 10 minutes, imagine what she could do with more time on the court. It's clear that Hull isn't just a role player, she's a potential game changer. So why was Hull benched during those first 2 games? You know who wasn't riding the pine during those first 2 games? Angel Reese. But here's a wild thought. What if her presence on the court was actually hurting the Rose Basketball Club?
So, yeah, not a good day at the office for Angel Reese.
Let's break it down. In the first 2 Unrivaled games, Reese was putting up double-doubles. Not too shabby, right? But guess what? Those stats didn't translate into wins. The Rose Basketball Club started the season with 2 big fat losses. Something wasn't adding up.
You can imagine missed layups from last night. Man, I mean, what is really going on here? You see that, and then whatever that is. I don't even know what that was. One more time. Oh, my God. I'm going to drive to the basket, and then I'm going to mess the ball up. No layups. Whatever that is. We don't know what that is. They haven't identified exactly what the hell that is.
Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, are those even real double-doubles? And you'd be right, especially all the hype around Reese's stat padding. Talk about a letdown.
Rose did win, though, which is all that matters. But, I think it's got to the stage now for the Rose where Even though, look, I don't think in the first 2 games Angel Reese was that bad. I don't think she was brilliant. But it's now got to the stage where you have to play Azure.
But it gets worse. In the latest game against the Mist Basketball Club, Reese only played 8 minutes. In that time, she scored a whopping 4 points on 2 of 6 shooting. She did grab 6 rebounds, but she also turned the ball over 3 times and committed 4 fouls. Not exactly the performance you want from a so-called star player, is it?
You have to start Azure Stevens. Like, there's no question about it. Like, you have to start Azure. Because Angel Reese, 2 of 6 from the field. She had as many fouls as points. 3 turnovers to 1 assist. Look, it's not ideal.
So what was going on? Well, it turns out that Reese's playing style just wasn't cutting it in the fast-paced world of 3-on-3 basketball. Her game was slow and pick-and-roll heavy. Basically the opposite of what you need in this format. It's like trying to play checkers in a game of speed chess. It just doesn't work. And the reality? Reese couldn't finish at the rim. She missed several easy looks during these games. I mean, come on. Layups are like the bread and butter of basketball. If you can't make those, you're in trouble.
If they had have lost, I know you can't get fired from Unrivaled coaching. I would still be looking to fire Nola Henry. Is it Nola Henry? Like, I would be like genuinely looking at firing the freaking coach if they lost that game.
Fans were starting to notice too. One fan even went as far as to say, Angel Reese is a liability in Unrivaled. Ouch. But can you blame them? The Rose Basketball Club's offensive strategy with Reese on the floor was about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. Instead of fast movement and cuts, you know, the stuff that actually works in 3-on-3, they were stuck in this slow, plodding style that just wasn't getting results. It's like they were playing a different game entirely.
But obviously the coach just wanted to run everything through obviously Angel and Chelsea Gray and Kat Copper. That starting lineup. They wanted Copper to be like the late shot clock ISO scorer. They wanted Chelsea Gray to set everything up, and they wanted it to be a lot of pick and rolls.
So why was Lexie Hull warming the bench for those first 2 games? Simple. Coach Nola Henry was so focused on trying to make Reese work that she couldn't see the forest for the trees. She was betting on the wrong horse, hoping that Reese's individual stats would somehow magically translate into team success. But you know what they say. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Something had to give. And finally, it did. After Reese's poor performance in the first 2 games, she found herself riding the bench in the 3rd one. And who stepped up? None other than Lexie Hull, helping the team snag their first win.
This coach, by the way, like, was this close to losing the game for them. The best players on the floor were Lexie Hull, Kalia Copper, and Azure Stevens. You can run that 3. You can run the 3. And in fairness, I don't mind playing Chelsea Gray because, you know, Chelsea Gray she did hit the shot. She was really good in the 4th.
Lexie Hull's breakout game isn't just a personal victory. It's a potential game changer for the Rose Basketball Club and the Indiana Fever. Her performance against the Mist showed us what's possible when Hull gets the green light. With stars like Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston in the mix, Hull's versatility could be the secret ingredient the Fever needs to spice things up in 2025. But here's the million-dollar question. Will Coach Nola Henry keep riding the Hull Express? Or will we see a return to the old playbook? The ball's in Henry's court now. If she's smart, she'll recognize that Hull's not just a role player. She's a difference maker who can contribute on both ends of the floor. You know what? This could be the start of something big for Hull and the Rose Basketball Club. But only if they play their cards right. The potential is there. Now it's time to see if they can turn it into results. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.